Welcome to another episode of The Meeting is Dead, Long Live the Meeting, the podcast dedicated to rescuing you from the soul-crushing abyss of pointless meetings. I'm your host, Barry Bramley, and today we're diving deep into the trenches of meeting reform. Today's topic, why makers hate meetings and managers can't live without them. Before I get going, here's a question for you. Are you a maker or a manager? I ask because in most organizations, people broadly fall into these two categories. Those who create, the makers, and those who coordinate, the managers, both critical to any organization's success. Of course, it's not a perfect divide, but knowing more or less on which side you lean helps design better meetings, or my personal favorite, gets rid of some altogether. Well, let's begin with the makers. Makers are anyone whose work requires uninterrupted focus. Whether you're writing code, designing products, crafting furniture, grinding blades, even preparing culinary masterpieces, they all fall into the category of makers. Think carpenters, welders, data specialists, accountants, chefs, lab technicians, even electricians. These roles thrive in deep concentration and they can't afford constant interruptions. On the other side, you have managers. They live in a completely different universe. Managers' day revolves around meetings, coordination, decision-making, and constant communication. They connect teams, they make quick decisions, they manage workflows, and they often measure their success by responsiveness rather than creating tangible outputs. Roles that fall into manager mode include team leaders, customer support leaders, project coordinators, human resource professionals, salespeople. The friction arises because these two worlds collide inside of their calendars. See, makers need at least half-day blocks of deep, uninterrupted time to deliver quality outputs. A simple 30-minute meeting for a manager, that's just a small part of their structured day. But for a maker, it's a disruptive event that can derail several hours of valuable productivity. If I dive a little deeper into the core of the issue, every time a maker switches contexts, say from writing code to attending a meeting, there's a significant hidden cost. Cognitive energy dissipates. Productivity drops sharply, and makers frequently become frustrated and overwhelmed. On the flip side, managers then interpret or misinterpret this frustration as resistance or disengagement, and this leads to unnecessary workplace friction. What makes the situation even more complicated are blended roles. So those individuals who juggle both maker and manager responsibilities. If you imagine a senior designer who must engage deeply in creative tasks and then simultaneously handle client-faced meetings. These individuals often suffer from what's called mode switching fatigue. They feel constantly drained from bouncing between two very different work modes. So, with all that said, let's have a look at some actionable steps that we can take to bridge this gap and improve everyone's productivity. For managers, a crucial step is to rethink your approach to meetings, especially when they include makers. Start by batching your meetings into designated parts of a day. For makers, often preferably the afternoon, but chat to your team, and that way you leave mornings sacred for deep work. Embrace asynchronous communication tools like Slack or emails, recorded updates, things that minimize real-time interruptions, where your team can go later in their own time when it works for them to catch up on important information. Here's a tough one. Empower your team by allowing them to opt out of non-essential meetings. Most people feel they have to go to meetings, and that's why I said it's a tough one. But if you can ensure that your team members feel that they can say no to a meeting, you're halfway there to creating that space that they need for those long, deep work times. Here's another important one. Always set clear agendas and the decision points beforehand, and maintain strict meeting time limits. I can't tell you how many meetings you go to. It's a 30-minute meeting and you're there for 45 minutes. And again, that can mess up a maker's day completely. Here's another really important one. Always set clear meeting agendas with decision points beforehand, upfront. Let the team see that. Maintain strict meeting time limits. Regularly conduct audits. That way you can eliminate unnecessary meetings altogether. Yeah, I'm suggesting that. Some meetings do not need to happen. They can disappear entirely. And then for makers, I encourage you to listen carefully to this. Your focus time is your greatest asset. Protect it fiercely. Block out dedicated maker time slots in your calendar so that people can see that you're available or unavailable. Don't hesitate to proactively decline meetings that don't align with your goals or provide clear value. Advocate strongly for asynchronous communication alternatives wherever that's possible. And you may have to educate people as to what that is. And if you're going to attend a meeting, ensure they're concise, ensure you're well prepared so that they can be purposeful and productive. By makers educating their colleagues on the true cost of interruptions, they not only protect their time, but they also elevate the productivity culture across the entire organization. Building a meeting-conscious culture is not just beneficial, it's essential. Educate your teams about effective meeting management. Promote asynchronous workflows, empower makers with autonomy over their schedules, and critically measure meeting effectiveness. I often imagine a world where we rate meeting organizers based on productivity and outcomes. Imagine you only got a 3 out of 5 as a meeting organizer. No one would come to your meetings because you did them so badly. I think just that rating could revolutionize workplace culture. I think you could hurt a lot of people in the process, so think carefully if you ever do that. Ultimately, this friction between makers and managers, it isn't about who works harder or who's more important. It's about understanding and respecting the inherently different ways we operate. By recognizing the value of both deep focus and coordinated collaboration, it allows us to create workplaces that are more productive, creative, and harmonious. That's all I have for today's exploration of The Meeting is Dead. Long live the meeting. I'm Barry Bramley, urging you to guard your valuable time and thoughtfully design your meetings. Until next time, stay focused, stay intentional, and stay productive.